Hello, this is K. Jolie with Crochet Basics, and in this episode we're going to make these cute little hats, and these are perfect. We're going to make them into earrings, and I'll show you how. Okay, so what you need for this one is Aunt Lydia's crochet thread, fashion 3, size 3 thread. And I'm using a size 3 hook, a steel hook, and the size 3 is a 2.10 millimeter. So a very small hook. All right. To make it into earrings, you need stuff to make it into earrings. So you need the jump rings, which this is what they look like. You can find them in the findings aisle. These are by Bead Landing, and these are 9 millimeter, but you can use different size. That's cool. Whatever kind of earring you like. So these are lever back earrings, and these are they call them ear wire. So the earring goes here. Your bead or whatever it is would go, feed into here. All right, and or the open hook, whatever you like. Your choice, of course. All right, so I did mine in 2 different colors. And ooh, pom-pom. All right, you can try and make your own pom-pom if you like. I got these in the Crafty Kids. And these are 9.5 millimeters. And they didn't have solid packs. I really kind of only wanted the white, but I guess I could use the other colors because these are little winter hats. It's not necessarily holiday or specific color. Whatever color you want to make it in, whatever color you have in stock, or And then a scrap piece of yarn in a contrasting color for a stitch marker, just to count the rows. Not we're going to do a slip stitch and a chain in this. And scissor, and then a needle, a small, like a tapestry needle will do you. One, you don't want anything too big that's going to stretch out your stitches. And this is very minimal weaving, actually, the way I'm going to show you. We're going to hide our little knots, we're going to make little knots and hide them like an amigurumi, which is fabulous. All right. So if you do a slip knot, I wasn't taught that way, so I don't do one. Ooh, and with the jewelry stuff, you usually a pair of pliers, jewelry pliers, scissor to cut off, and I think that's it. All right, but let's get this going. Ooh, and with the pom-pom, with my pom-poms, I glued them on with Fabri-Tac. So, which is supposed to washable, flexible, no strings, and no soak through. And, but however you want to attach, if you're going to do a pom-pom, that's your choice. All right, so this one I'm not going to do time lapse or anything because it's so small. There's really no need to do a time lapse. All right, it works up real quick. All right, so if you do a slip knot, I don't. I do a little crossover on my hook, which is actually the beginning of a slip knot. All right, so you're gonna chain 3. And in that 3rd chain from the hook, you're gonna work around your tail. Okay, work around your tail, and that saves in so we don't have to weave and all that. All right, so but for this first row, we're going to do half double crochet, and you're going to do 6 half double crochets for row 1. All right, so 6 half double crochets, and then you worked around your tail, so we're just going to pull that tight, and that closes up that first loop. So now I added in a scrap yarn just to keep what's that word? Track of the rows. Not really, just to know where like each row began and ended and stuff like that. All right, so you'll slip stitch into the first chain you made and chain 1. And the one thing with these little hooks, they're so pointy. They hurt. They hurt sometimes. All right, so slip stitch, chain 1. You'll work 2 half double crochets in each stitch all the way around, and that'll give you 12 stitches for row 2. I hope this is such small crochet. I don't know how far I should zoom in or not. Because I know some people watch this on their phone and then it's so, you know, it's like the whole screen is my hands. All right. So if you're going to use a scrap yarn, you don't have to, I don't think, really use the scrap yarn because we are doing a slip stitch and a chain. So, but I guess, you know, just to count the rows. All right, so you'll slip stitch into the first chain that you made and you'll chain 1 again. Now before you start row 3, see this little, our starting tail here. Before you start row 3, the starting tail, you pull it nice and tight because we worked around it. And then you make the tiniest little knot and you worked around it. It's not going to come out. This is, I do this with a lot of regular hats, regular size people hats. I do this with all of my regular size people hats. So you just pull it nice and tight and snip it off, and as long as everything was pulled nice and tight, it won't come out. I've never seen it come out. Not that it can't, but I've never seen it come out on any of my hats, you know. All right. So row 3, we're going to work 2 in the first stitch and 1 next after that, and you'll repeat that for the row, and you'll end up with 18 stitches for row 3. So you'll slip stitch into the first chain that you made, and you'll chain 1. And now for row 4, 5, and 6, you'll work 1 half double crochet all the way around with a slip stitch and a chain, and you'll have 18 for each row, 18 stitches per row. So, and if you haven't, please subscribe and check out my other patterns and stuff like that. And I'm on Instagram and all that good stuff. And just as a rule of thumb, I don't ever count when I'm doing these. It's very rare that I'll count on camera as I'm working it, because if you're working it, I'm not trying to mess up your count. You know, so I always start counting in my head. Because I could be crocheting watching TV and they'll say a number on the television and then all of a sudden my crochet count is totally messed up and I'm like, oh, dang it. You know, what the heck? And it happens to me all the time, actually. It's very silly. All right, so row 6 is, this is our last row, row 6, if you're working it, you know, well, I'm working it. And then I'm gonna do a color change to give the brim a different color. So that it, you know, it looks kind of like more like a, you know, but you can keep it all one color. That's, you know, of course, that's your choice. But I just liked it with the different colored brim, you know. And then if you end up with a pack of pom-poms or, you know, whatever, that's whatever, you can match up. Alright, so we're gonna, on the slip is where we're doing our color change. So you'll pull up, and then you'll pull through with whatever color you're gonna change to. Okay, so this one, I like these first ones that I did. This isn't white, it's silver. So I don't know if it'll, you know, show up. It usually shows up in the pictures. It doesn't always show up on, you know, when I'm recording it and stuff like that. But then I had this blue, and I found. And then it's funny because I'm always trying to get rid of these skinny yarns because I'm like, I don't normally do, you know, like doilies or any kind of thing. So I'm not really sure why I keep buying these. And I know they're for more than just doilies and stuff like that, you know, tablecloths and stuff like that. But I don't really use these, so I'm not sure why I keep buying them. So weird. All right, so. And the end is here. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do a color change, and I'm just going to pull through on my slip stitch with the new color I'm doing. You want to pull everything tight. You want to pull everything nice and tight. Now, to keep it where you don't really have to like weave it so much. All right, for this one, chain 2. And then the first one is 2 half double crochets. So I worked around my tails just a little bit, just a couple of stitches over. And that helps with the not having to like weave in, okay? All right, so 2 in the first for this row, and then 1 in the next, and you'll repeat that for the row, and you'll end up with 27. And you can cut off, you know, if you changed colors, you can cut off your first color. Not too short, because we're going to make a little knot with it. So for row 7, we're just doing, we're doing another increase. 2 in the first, 1 in the next for the row. Now just to show you, sorry to cut off, but just to show you, see I started crocheting around both of my tails here, and I stopped here with the blue, and the red is still in, so I'm going to stop with the red now so that it's not in the same spot for when I I'm going to say weave it in, but really I'm just going to pull through and make a knot. Okay, so just to show you that, and you could do that with other projects too, not just this little tiny stuff. All right, so here we'll slip stitch and pull a tail at the very end. And you just want to make sure you have it like nice and full. All right, pull the tail a little longer. We're not really weaving with it. We're weaving in and out with it to sew it, to keep the brim in place. All right, you can pull out your scrap if you like. You don't really need it at this point. Okay, so from here, you'll thread the tail onto a needle, not a big, not a big plastic needle or like a extra big, sometimes they have extra big ones. This one is a small yarn needle. I was trying to use a regular sewing needle, which worked out perfect for the first ones I made, but this one I just skinned it, and that's why my hat looks a little bit more stretched out, because I had to stop it. I had to stop and pull out that row and redo it. So my hat looks a little more stretched out probably than what yours looks like, and that happens. All right, so just going underneath, straight through, okay? And where it's not gonna be like a noticeable, I usually pull through like the middle of a stitch, actually, and make the knot there, because then I have a better chance of it not coming out because it's like tucked in, if that makes sense. And I'm sure that's like weird logic, but all right, and then just a tiny little knot. Don't pull it too tight, because remember we worked around that thread, and you don't want to cinch it up. You're not trying to cinch up the hat, so don't pull that too tight. All right, snug. And then right where my knot is, without disturbing the knot, I'm just going to snip right off. And boom, that's one tail done. And we already took care of the middle tail, the very first starting tail. So that's 2 tails done. On the blue, I'm going to do the same thing on the starting tail for the blue. So, which I like this because I don't like weaving in. It is a pain in my butt. And I think, most people feel that way too. I've never heard anybody say they love weaving in, but I'm sure there's someone out there. All right, so just in the blue, and it's funny because this is the right side of the stitches. Normally you don't do that, but it's gonna be tucked in, so we don't even have to give it a second thought. Just be careful not to cinch your stitches up, okay? And without disturbing my knot. All right, now here is the longer tail. This is my ending tail that I left. And I really love the tapestry needles because they, I don't know if this is even a tapestry needle, but I really love the tapestry needles with the regular yarn, because it just makes it easier where you're not really disturbing like your stitches. You're not doing like damage, or like spacing them out or anything. All right, so just take your tail and you're only picking up like very outer. You're not going all the way through to the inside. It's not like, just go over, fold this up, go through, couple over, and then do it again till you get to the end. Till, and you're not sewing it, because you don't really need to. It's such a small piece, just a little, my grandmother always called this basting, like a light sew was she called it basting. So I don't really know if that's the correct word. I've said this in another video and nobody commented or said anything, so maybe that is the right word. But I'm really not a sewer, so I don't really know. Because I know, what do I know? I know basting a turkey. That's what I know. I don't know basting as in sewing. All right, and then you're just covering, you're keeping this in place, And then you're actually just covering the little knots you made, you know. So that this stays nice and looks like, you know, a little tiny winter hat. I don't know what's going on with my lighting today. And don't go too high, you know, you're just folding it over and sewing it to like stay in place. All right, and then when you get to the end, you go through, go back in, go over a little bit, don't cinch it, but make a tiny little knot. Okay, and then you just go back in, pull it out the other side. My knot went right in between. Pull it a little snug, and that tail will get sucked in there, and you won't ever see it again. You know, I thought this was so funny when I was sending the pictures. I was like, oh my goodness, it's a little thumb cozy. So silly, right? All right. So from here, you could just put your pom-pom on. You can try and make your own, or however else you want to like embellish, you know, of course, it's your project. Oh. Really? There was only 2 little tiny white pom-poms in there? Whatevs. All right, let me open this big bag. And then I like these. I always talk while I'm doing package opening, and I'm like, that's the worst, because all I hear is crinkle, crinkle, and you don't hear what I'm saying. But I thought this was a nice little winter thing. And, you know, if you make it, you know, if you want to do the holidays or whatever, and they're very lightweight, you know, follow the directions. It says not to squish it down. It says, because it'll seep through and stuff like that. So, but I squished mine down because I'm a rebel. I wouldn't really, I mean, if you're a pro, then I'd say like a little hot glue and you're good. Whoops, that was way too much. But I find hot glue guns dangerous. I have burnt myself on numerous occasions, so I only pull it out if it really needs to be. Like, I stab myself a lot when I sew, so I would actually choose sewing over being burned by the glue gun, which sounds so crazy, right? But woo-wee. All right, so you put that in place. Push down a little bit so it stays, you know, right at the top. Or I guess you could sew that on too. Okay? And that's what that looks like. Then with this, well, all right, I'll show you on this one. So this will dry and we'll leave it aside. And I'm using these 9mm jump rings. But whatever you like. And if I was a pair of, nope, we're right here. Okay. All right. So you would just open it up. Boom. And what I did was, I tried to go through like 1 to 2 stitches. Like I tried to make sure I had a good, because I was afraid, like you want to make sure you get fully under the stitch, you know. And then, I did like these though. I did like these. You'll see in the pictures. And with this, you just close it right up. Make sure it's all, that it's not going to come out. Like, because you know you wear winter hats and stuff like that. So I thought the longer earring, oh, and I tell you this in my other jewelry video, but they do make a metal glue for jewelry So if you don't get a good close on where the ends meet on the jump ring, you know, a little dab will do ya. Just protect, you know, you don't want to, in case it discolors, you want to protect your yarn. Okay. Oops, I squished it. And then I was thinking of a different, like another way to like keep this puffed out, you know, so that it stays looking like a hat. But stick it in, and then there you go. There's your earring. Super cute, right? Well, I think so anyway. All right, so with that, please subscribe if you haven't. Thank you so much for watching. Give a thumbs up if you make the cute little hats. I swear, so cute. What else? Happy hooking as always, because it keeps you off the streets and keeps you looking super cool all year round. All right. And I will be back real soon with my next tutorial. I'm also thinking about doing like a vlog or like a preview video. So I'm still mulling it over, you know, just to show you up and coming stuff and things like that, patterns I'm working on and stuff like that. So this is K. Jolie, Crochet Basics. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and give a thumbs up. And I will be back real soon with my next tutorial. Have a super duper great day. Thank you so much. Take care now. Ciao.